This episode from The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. From domains, templates, and themes to analytics and award-winning customer service, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package so you can get started in no time. I should know, we've used it right here at The Casual. It's pretty amazing. So go ahead and use our code squarespace.com/thecasual to save 10% off on your first purchase and get that site started today. The time is now. You know it's the time. So go ahead and get to it. And now, on to the show. Nowadays, when you think of luxury/designer street labels, it's easy to pop off with Off-White, Fear of God, Heron Preston, A Cold Wall, and the like. But one label from Japan may have been the precursor to all the madness you see today, without the celebrity cosigns. Did it start the craze, or was it just a blip on the radar? Today we explore that when we ask the question, what the hell is Mastermind Japan? I'm your boy Reggie Casual, let's get it. Yet another label in the 90s rejecting societal norms in the state of fashion, and in this case, Japanese fashion. Mastermind Japan was born from the mind of retail manager turned designer Masaki Honma in 1997. And for all of you wondering, no, Masaki Honma was not formally trained in fashion design. His biggest influence came from working at the Yohji Yamamoto retail space, which undoubtedly had a profound impact on his use of dark tones in his flagship label. However, when Mastermind launched hastily in 1997 to be a part of the Tokyo Collection show, it was almost an abject failure before it even started. To save his label from bottoming out due to unpreparedness, Honma adopted an open price system that allowed vendors to buy his label at a fixed wholesale price, but at an open retail price, lowering the risk for potential buyers. Basically, they could choose to sell the product at whatever price they wanted. Essentially, the first vendors that gave him a shot, Isetan, Zozotown, Hankyu, and Beams, which are all major players today. But Masaki wasn't necessarily out of the doghouse. The label, Mastermind, was still on the chopping block. However, Mastermind managed to survive long enough to showcase several seasons in Paris, and by the fourth seasonal collection, the iconic skull and crossbones logo was adopted. Masaki claims he drew nearly 1,000 iterations of the design before deciding on the one that remains the logo till this day, which of course gets the Jesus, why did you not have a computer? And it actually turns out he did not have a computer, so kudos to you, bro. But still, a computer would have helped tremendously. But respect, but it would have helped. By 2001, Mastermind was becoming a beast in Honma's native Japan, but lacked the interest in foreign markets. It was at this time that Masaki took a chance that would change the future of the brand. Masaki decided to upgrade the quality of his textiles by using silk and cashmere in simple pieces like t-shirts. He also chose to produce the complete collection in Japan using some of the best manufacturers he could find. This set Mastermind apart, as it was one of the first street first-centric labels to adopt luxury and designer method of design and marketing. But it wasn't only marketing and method. Early Mastermind was known for its detail and quality and an unforgiving ethos, which provided a blueprint for brands you see today taking over the luxury space with street style designs. This move proved to be the boon Mastermind needed to land a key buyer from Maxfield LA that ordered the label in the millions of yen. In short, the Maxfield LA contract was a winner. The label sold out quickly, and the orders began pouring in soon after. But time wears on anything, and after 10 years of iconic collections and future grails for a solid cult following, the industry began to catch up to Mastermind. At its high point, the label was a standout as a disruptor luxury street label. But by 2012, it was now challenged by a sea of other labels and collections that were also offering high-end designer apparel at the street level. And while Mastermind was positioned as a luxury street label, many buyers thought that the brand was priced far too high for its designs. Mastermind tees were notorious for reaching the $600 to $800 range, which was a bit much. Just a bit. Just a little bit. Again, Jesus. But it was cashmere though. This, coupled with waning interest, led Honma to decide to end seasonal collections after Mastermind's 15th, opting for a more streamlined format that got Mastermind in the hands of midpoint consumers, namely the traditional streetwear crowd, whatever that is. And it was at this time that Mastermind went from luxury cult classic to collaborative powerhouse, a move many would not invite wholeheartedly. Now, the list of brands that Mastermind collabed with from 2012 and onward would be numerous, and it wouldn't necessarily be what the faithful were looking for, but because of its reputation for limited access, Mastermind would become a great brand for labels trying to cash in on its cult luxury status, even though many of these collabs were far less expensive than the original Mastermind. These labels include, but aren't limited to, okay, here we go again. Neighborhood Fragment, Adidas, Antisocial Social Club, Hello Kitty, Carhartt, Fear of God, Goyard, RTA, Strict G, Converse, Suikoke, Kith, UGG, Timberland, Stussy, Visvim, Nike, Reebok, G-Shock, Kohan, The North Face, Julius, Red Baron, and Yamaha, Theater 8, Buscemi, Hysteric Glamour, Uniform Experiment, Softnet, Vans, and more Vans, and of course, Bape, because who doesn't collab with Bape? But more on that later, because that's a whole nother issue. Of course, there's a whole bunch more I haven't mentioned, but yeah, Mastermind collabs with everybody. However, in 2015, Diffusion labels Mastermind Homme, Femme, and a featuring A-Girls emerged with full offerings, but these sub-labels failed to capture the ethos of the original Mastermind. They instead opted for a more workwear contemporary street style rather than the urban, punk, grunge, and goth influences from its past. Again, this left many with a sour taste in their mouth that longed for a return to form, and it wouldn't be long before that happened. In 2017, the brand re-emerged with a new collection celebrating 20 years since its inception. With a new vigor for design and a more sophisticated consumer, Masaki set his sights on making Mastermind a part of the official conversation in luxury street fashion. This coincided with the launch of Mastermind World, an international extension of the label that celebrated its origins but marketed to an international audience. The Japan extension of the label would see its own collections that explored Honma's new vision within a sea of individuals that came after him but were pushing the same boundaries he overcame 20 years prior, namely the Off-Whites and the Fear of Gods of the world, which are direct descendants of the Mastermind method and position in fashion. Further, in 2018, Mastermind would enter into a deal that landed its first official retail location in years at Tokyo Midtown Hibiya, right in time for hungry tourists to engage with before the Olympics. Not only that, Mastermind would again team with Bape to open the Mastermind vs. Bape concept store in Hong Kong, featuring motifs from both iconic labels in one retail location. So while it's safe to say that Mastermind is back, it's also safe to say that it has changed quite a bit from its legendary cult status. In the beginning, it was applauded for its attention to detail, its unmatched Japanese manufacturing, and unforgiving focus on its mantra and ethos. Now it's more a part of the ecosystem of Japanese labels, making it accessible for the casual consumer with its often jarring collaborations, while maintaining its presence as a high-end luxury street brand for those who want to engage with the real collections. And that's the only issue really, because most only see the collabs, the sneakers, and the skull logo. But underneath it all is a label that paved the way for what we see today. Mastermind was one of the first of its kind, and quite often it gets berated as out of touch and past its prime. And in some ways, that may be true. But if this current evolution is any indication of what's to come, then Mastermind is far from dead. And that's it for this week's edition of WTH. If you have thoughts on Mastermind, let those be known in the comments. Also, a big shout out to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of WTH. And remember to use the code squarespace.com/thecasual to get your 10% off and get your website started. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and follow your boy on Instagram at Reggie Casual and The Casual Official at thecasual.co. そしてまだやっていないなら subscribe を忘れないように. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, but most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. よろしくお願いします. And I will see you guys in a minute. Mastermind. I took a long time to make that video, and I came back to let you guys know that don't do what I do. It is not an easy job.